All right, welcome to the August Lunch and Learn. Thanks for joining, and I hope everyone's had a great week so far. Our agenda for today, we'll go over any questions that were sent in from our last bug, which there weren't any. We've got some major updates, including around security that we've been discussing the last couple of bugs. And then if we have time at the end, we'll go over the tip of the month and the TransIT education. We are now ready to launch the multi-factor authentication and risk-based authentication. It's now live in production. This is the main update that was implemented, but just as a recap for those here involved, multi-factor authentication is a multi-step account login process that requires users to enter more information than just a password. So we all should know what MFA is. And then accompanying that is the risk-based authentication, which assesses the probability of an account that has been compromised within each login. So we're just going to go through some workflows on how it's going to operate inside TransIT. If you did want it turned on, you do need to contact support to have it turned on. Once it's switched on, all your users will be required to use MFA. Once they are set up inside their authenticator, they will get a code, and that's the code that they use to log in. It is time-based, so it does change every 30 to 60 seconds. So whenever you log in, you'll just need to use that one code. If you never switch IPs, you'll only be asked once to do MFA. If you switch back and forth, e.g. home or office, you'll be asked each time you switch. And anytime a user record is updated, you'll be asked again. So I'll go over some workflows. So just to begin, we're going to do the simple MFA with RBA process. So with MFA and RBA process, you log into TransIT as you normally do at the moment. And then once MFA is enabled, you will get sent to this landing page here. This is the initial landing page within TransIT. Once you're set up with your MFA and RBA, you'll only be asked to do this once. And then once you're set up, you can then use your codes after that. So we'll go over how that works as well. Inside Microsoft Authenticator, this is how you would set up Make inside the Authenticator. So number one, you would open the Authenticator app on your phone. You would then click this little plus arrow at the top right-hand corner. You would select your work or school account, and then you would select Scan QR code. The Google Authenticator is very similar, but I'll show you the differences in 1 second. This is Google Authenticator here. Once you load Google Authenticator, you would click this little icon up here, which would then enable you to scan the QR code on the screen. Once you've loaded up either Authenticator, you would then use your app to then scan the QR code on the screen. Once your account is added, so you can see here on the left, this is the Microsoft Authenticator. Once you're added, you will then get your unique code. And then on the right-hand side here is the Google Authenticator. So you'll get your unique code. And these little bubbles here show you how long the code's valid for. Once the code runs out and expires, it will then tick over to a new code. You'll need that 6-digit code that is under your Make Solutions account to log into TransIT. Once you've got that code, you would then click this blue Continue button on the landing page within your web browser. You would then enter your 6-digit code here into those 6 little boxes. You can enter the code in and not have to tab or anything like that. You can just simply go across, and then you would be logged into TransIT. Again, that process will only occur once, as long as you don't change anything. New TransIT users will need to accept the terms of service and privacy policy. If you've already signed up and ticked those off, you won't need to sign and acknowledge those if you're a current user of TransIT. And then, of course, to sign out at the end of the day, you would use your little user icon in the top right-hand corner and then click to sign out. Does anyone have any questions on that process so far? Fairly straightforward, should be fairly consistent with most of our MFA that we have to do with banks and other items that we'd have to log in for.
The only thing I would add, Travis, is it works with any authenticator. So we're showing Google and Microsoft Authenticator, but it works with Duo or RSA or any of the other standard ones out there.
Yeah. The next workflow we'll show is just signing on with the same IP after you've completed that initial process. So you would log on to TransIT the same way you do now, as long as you've done that initial process of the QR code that we just went through. You would then be able to log in and not have to enter an MFA unique code or anything like that. So very straightforward. It's only that one time that you have to do that initial setup. We then move to the next workflow, which is begin MFA with RBA process from a different IP address. So this is an example that if you're at work and you have a different IP address and you wanted to do some work at home or over the weekend, you would have a different IP address. You would log into TransIT the same way at a different physical location and a different IP address. You would then get this notice here to type in your 6-digit code. So again, you don't have to do the QR code. It's only the initial time you have to do that. You would enter your 6-digit code, and then you would be successfully logged into TransIT. So it's just recognizing that it's a different IP address, and it's saying that we just need some extra information from that user. The next one is begin MFA with RBA process after a user record is updated. So if an admin has updated a password, an email address, a phone number, anything to do with that user record, that user would then log into TransIT the same way they usually do now. They would then need to type in their 6-digit code from their Authenticator app, and then they would be logged into TransIT successfully. Any questions so far on that side of things? Great. So in terms of future security features, we're still working on strong passwords, which will come hopefully by the end of summer, which will include bot protection as well. The strong passwords we did discuss over the last couple of bugs. We will be in contact with the admins of each site to coordinate timing and how we're going to roll out the strong passwords. So once we're ready to do that, we will reach out to each organization to coordinate that implementation. Does anyone have any questions on anything we've talked about now in terms of MFA, RBA, and strong passwords and bot protection before we move on to the tip of the month? Did you want to add anything, Patty, on the security side of things?
Did you mention, sorry, that when you make any change to your user record at all, that you have to re-authenticate? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
that was the last little bit. Yeah.
So that would be, also if you inactivate and reactivate an account. So if you have somebody who leaves and comes back and you turn off their TransIT use during that time, then you would have to re-authenticate then as well.
Yeah. And in regards to the tip of the month, we're just going to review how you can speed up your issue review. So obviously, when you do your round of testing, you'll have a lot of issues to review. So we just want to highlight how you can speed up your issue review. So I'm just going to jump into TransIT for us. So when we navigate to our issues page, you'll see your list of issues here. You want to highlight whichever issues you would like to review, and you can do that 2 ways. You can use the control and click, and you can individually highlight single issues, or you can click the first issue and hold down Shift and click on the last issue, and it will highlight all of the issues within that row range. And then you would just right click and review selected issues. This is going to bring up an area for you to be able to review the issues. So on the left-hand side, you'll see a list of all the issues that we selected. And let's say we wanted to review 356. We would just click on 356 and the information would populate on the right-hand side. We would make any changes. So let's say we wanted to assign this to myself. We make any changes that we would like on this actual pane here, and then you'll notice on the left-hand side that it changes color from a white to a blue, which means the changes have been made. So you'll be able to, if you wanted to sort through and pick different ones that you wanted to do. So let's say we wanted to close this one. You can then see where you're at. We are in the process of adding a scroll bar to this issue list here to make it a little bit easier to scroll down, but you can noticeably speed up your clicks rather than having to go into each issue separately and then make your changes and then go back. You can just highlight any issues. And to get back to your issue list, you either click your issues breadcrumb or the issues icon on the top right-hand corner. Does anyone have any questions on that tip?
When I do that, I typically sort by priority first so that I go through my highest priority issues and I go through highest priority to lowest priority. Because if you sort this first and then do view, it'll keep it in the order that you sorted it in.
Correct, yeah. Does anyone have any questions on their issue list or any questions in regards to TransIT that we can help you out with? Okay, if there's no questions, then we'll give everyone back the 15 minutes and hopefully everyone has a great Friday afternoon.
Thanks, Travis.
Thank you.
Thanks, Travis.